Hello, my dear friends. Today I'm going to talk about building your resume. This is going to be one of multiple videos that I will record for you on this topic, and we'll try to make it count. Today I'm going to start with your name and basic demographic information that you put at the top of your resume. Name, address, telephone number, email address. And you say, why does that deserve a separate mention when we talk about resume? This is just such a small thing. This is, yet it is exactly the place where most people fail when they develop their resume. The resume can be great, but your name, address, and your email may be the things that will cost you your job or even your initial interview phone call or an email back. So let's jump in and talk about that. Your name. Now, you all know me as Steve, but Steve is not my real first name. I'm an immigrant. I came from what is now called Russia. It used to be called USSR. And my first name is long and unpronounceable to most Americans, that is. So when I would put that at the top of my resume, no one would ever call me back until I came up with a pseudonym, Steve. I stole it from a TV show called The $6 Million Man, for anyone who remembers. And in any case, once I started replacing my real first name with an American name, Steve, all of a sudden, I started getting calls. Wow, I thought to myself, could that be real? Why, yes, it was real. Why? Because people discriminate. And discrimination is real. And, before we all fly off the handle and start talking about, yeah, discrimination, it's bad. Okay, all right, it is bad. It is bad. It's not right. But it is the reality of this world. Ever since the destruction of the Tower of Babel, if you know this biblical story of the Tower of Babel, people used to speak the same language. They had the same cultural background. They were all the same. And then they rebelled against God and they started building a tower made out of brick, not out of stone, said, let's rebel against God. Let's build a tower. Let's make bricks. And then God said, you know what? I am not liking this too much. And he destroyed the tower and he made people speak different languages and, discriminate against one another. Okay? So ever since that time, there's been discrimination and it's real. People discriminate. People from one block of a neighborhood discriminate people from another block. And so it goes. It's not just about race. It's not just about gender. It's about everything. We all discriminate. We discriminate all the time. And you can say, I don't discriminate. Yes, you do. And I do. I try not to, but this is the reality of the world. So this biblical lesson aside, I want you to focus on the fact that we do face discrimination all the time. We like and we dislike people. We like and we dislike names. And if we can't pronounce a name that's on a resume, we're certainly going to file it in a circular file. That means a garbage can. So if you have one of these names that could be misread, mispronounced, or discriminated against, replace it with something benign, like Jane, John, Bob, Ben, Steve, Mike, something like that. You see what I'm saying? You see, the resume is not a legal document. You are actually allowed to make that stylistic change. It's an element of style. And it's okay. You're certainly not allowed to do that on the job application. But before you fill out a job application, you first send out your resume, don't you? Your resume is a brief synopsis of what you have to offer, your experience, your skills, and so on and so forth. And first and foremost, your name. Well, we got that out of the way. By the way, since I'm in the business of advising people about their career development, some of you know that I co-manage a school called the Boston Career Institute that I'd created 20 years ago. And in that venue, I have a task of overseeing thousands of career-minded individuals to make sure that they go through a successful integration into the workforce. And I advise this to all of my students. There are thousands of them, thousands of success stories, thousands rather. So remember what I tell you. You can fight discrimination another time, but not when you're trying to get a job. Get a job first and then fight discrimination. You see what I'm saying? It is what it is. If you're going to be fighting discrimination before you get a job, you may succeed in changing somebody's mind, but you certainly won't get a job. I am a mayor of this little town called Realville. It's a fictional town where everything is real, and I'm its mayor. I'm the chief guy. I will always tell you what's real. I promise you. I won't lie, and I won't sugarcoat it. So fix your name. Change your name, just like I did. I wouldn't ask you to do something that I don't do. Okay? This is not a principled choice. It's not a principled decision. Just a way for you to get a job. Hope that makes sense. Now, let's talk about your address. People discriminate on the basis of your address or your zip code. Okay? The city that I live in, city of Boston, has multiple zip codes. Some areas are discriminated against. So therefore, it's not necessary for you to specify the area you live in precisely. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to put your address on there. You can just put City of Boston, City of New York, City of Los Angeles, whatever. Be generic. So prevent discrimination based on your zip code, on the specific area where you live. Now, it used to be the same thing with a telephone number, but it's no longer the case. With number portability, people have all sorts of weird telephone numbers. All right, so we don't have to worry too much about your area code on the telephones. That can be left alone. However, when we come to the topic of your telephone number, one thing that I should mention to you is this: your outgoing message on your answering machine, or your outgoing message in general, since we don't have answering machines anymore. Folks, if you're not capable of leaving a professional outgoing message, meaning the message that people hear when they call you, let the computer generate a message for you. Okay? If you're speaking with a thick, heavy accent, let the machine use its automated answering service. Certainly, when you're looking for a job, do not let your phone out of your possession. Before the widespread use of cell phones, people had a home number that they would put on their resume. And, with all sorts of family members living in there, when people would look for a job, either their kids or grandma or grandpa that used to live at home would pick up the phone, and that would cost you a job. That's no longer the case. But please, for all that's holy, when you're looking for a job, that phone needs to be glued to your hand. Glued. From dawn to dusk, you are to have that phone on your person. No one else is allowed to pick it up. All right? When you're looking for a job, don't share your phone with your kids who are trying to play a video game on your phone, and they're doing it so you can keep them quiet. No, find something else for them to do. That phone is yours while you're looking for the job. When people are looking to call you to schedule an interview, make sure that phone is available to you. No monkey business on the outgoing message. Don't try to record some kind of a musical interlude or prelude during your outgoing message. No songs, no music, no funky drum beats, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Again, remember, it's the Tower of Babel. People discriminate. They may not like the song you're playing. They may be suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder of some sort, and something happened to them. They're traumatized, and now this music, this drum beat is playing, and oh my gosh, no, I couldn't possibly get along with that person. Stay away from that. Stay away from that. Generic, generic, generic. Everything generic. Of course, it's best not to have people leave messages. A lot of people don't like to leave messages. That's why I'm telling you, have the phone glued to your hand and be ready to pick it up. And that leads me to a point that when you're looking for a job, starting with 7:30 in the morning, you need to be showered, you need to have had your first cup of coffee, you need to be fully prepared, fully dressed. When your resume is floating out there in outer space, you know darn well that somebody may be calling you at any time. Well, you need to be prepared. So when they dial that number on your resume, you're not going to sound like, oh. If you sound like that, don't pick up the phone. But you need to be motivated. You need to be excited. People need to feel and they need to feel through that telephone that they're talking to someone who is ready for a job. They're looking for you. Just like I sound now myself. Okay? They need to feel that power. You need to project that power, that success through your voice, and that's when people want you. Now the email address. My dear friends, if you created an email address that is so unique to you, that is just so expressive and creative, that's just wonderful, but not everybody likes it. Folks, make a new email address. First name dot last name, just like it's on your resume, of some sort. Google is very good about helping you select that number. Open up a new account. If you have a school email address, that's great. Do not use your work email. That's in bad taste. Besides, all email communications belong to your employer. They may filter out the responses. Okay? So in your particular case, create a new email account specifically for job searches. First name dot last name dot first name. Parts of it, whatever the case may be, something simple and easy to type without making a mistake. All right, remember that. No monkey business, nothing special where people say, this email address? Oh, who is that person? I'm not doing that. Okay, so look at this. We spent this time discussing basic things about your resume. More stuff to come. We're going to talk about your previous employment history. We're going to talk about skills that you can list in your resume, your educational background, all those things we're going to discuss. But this is the first part, your name, your address, and your telephone number. I promise you that in the next videos having to do with your resume writing, I will have more stuff on the screen and we'll develop a resume together. Well, hope this was a very helpful intro. More to come shortly. Thanks for listening. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the like buttons and leave your commentary in good taste, of course. All right, folks. Great talking to you. I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks for listening.
I don't disagree. I agree.